Morning guys, welcome to video 83 I think we are at now. So Saturday morning, so I'll spend a few hours here depending on how I feel. I'll we're at the afternoon as well, but I want to get the brackets made for that to join the back bow to the second bow that connects everything to the front. So I want to get those made today or this morning if I can. So first I need to have a bit of a clean up and get this contraption out of the road, because it's now basically in the road. Whoa, stop fluctuating light. That's better. So yeah, I've got to get that out of the road because I want to lay that plate steel down in here and start cutting out some brackets with the rough cut them out with the plasma cutter, and then obviously grind them down and whatever and get them on there, and do a little bit of shaping and whatever. So I need to get that out of the road and have a clean up there. I need to have a bigger clean up, but I might do that one day. I just want to start getting this stuff together. So that's my main thing I want to do today. When I post yesterday's video up, last night went and had a look at the Matt's 65 from Core Gas, then had a look at his 65 from Impala, 4-door Impala. He's had it for years, like I said in one of the other videos a couple ago. He's had some rust repair done. It needs possibly, I don't think it's really got any more rust in it, but there's a few spots in it that look like they mightn't be far away, and they've had some bodgy repairs at some other stage. Bottoms of the quarter panels and a couple bits and pieces like that. It's still a lot of the paint and bits and pieces and stuff that's on it. It's sort of, I'll go back through it. I met Matt when I worked for a roofing outfit. He used to actually work next door at the sheet metal place, and I worked for the roofing guys. And I used to make a lot of flashings and roofing stuff and lots of stuff. He eventually came next door, and we ended up working on a night shift crew together. He sort of worked with us for, I don't know, it might have been about a year or so, or more on night shift, and then he went to day shift. And he would like to do afternoon shift and whatever else. But I run night shift for about 5 years. But anyway, so he had, in that sort of first year or so of us working together, he bought the 65 Impala, which would have been about, I don't know, 2001-ish, I guess, or two. Might have been 2000, mid to late 2002, I would think. And it was all the original colour, but it hadn't been, you could see where it had been repaired and all that sort of stuff, and it was sort of original paint and newer paint but the same colour. It was if you had it now, you probably would leave it the way it was, you just repair it and just patch it up, because it was almost that patina look, whereas back then, like, everybody go, oh man, that looks shit, paint it. So we, I can't remember, one night I think, we scuffed it down and blew it semi-gloss black. We were actually talking about last night. I think we, at that time, we had out in one of the back sheds, there was a little compressor. we was like, we need a compressor. Oh, yeah, we'll just grab the one from work down there 6 hours later, bring it back. And anyway, painted it, mastered it all up. I think we did spend a couple of hours rubbing it back just to clean it up, and I think we fixed it. It was at the point it was starting to break out and lose little spots, so we just cleaned it up and just to make it look tidy again. And obviously the plan was later on down the track was to do the full body, but 17 years or 18 years later, or more, it's got to the point where it's had like all the lip done in around the trunk or boot seal. He's done parts of the dog legs and where the back guards come down and where the back doors are. And it's, had a few patches. I think he's had some pieces done up in the pillars and the front, and like lots of little patches done, like where it's had actually rust cut out of it, and it's been done pretty well. He's done some of it himself, but he's not confident actually doing where it's actually been damaged and stuff like that, you know, and actually straightening it out. And there's possibly, probably needs some bottoms of the quarters done, possibly inside and out. They look a bit hammered, they're a bit rough and been beaten up, and one of them's had a bit of a dodgy patch in there. We haven't actually cleaned the outside off to have a look. But yes, he's going to strip all the paint off it and all the body filler, because it's got quite a bit of body filler in places. I think it's had a smack. I think, because he's got all the history from it. But I think sometime in probably in the late 70s or mid 70s, or might have been in the early 80s. Apparently a bike, like a Harley or something like that at the time, ended up smacking into the side, and it's had quite a few repairs down there, because you can actually see where the floor and the sill of the rocker and the post has been pushed in, and it's been straightened back out. You can actually see, but it's been repaired pretty well, so you're better off just to leave it alone. But it's had a few rough repairs. It's sort of just been banged out and then just smeared with body filler, so we're going to try and make that a lot better. So at least if it has got body filler, it's a little bit not that thick like it is in places. But that's just typical of what the repairs they did then. They just bashed it out and smeared it, and it looks good now. So you will try and straighten it up, because it was just a 15 or 10-year-old sort of car. Maybe it's just an old 10-year-old car. We'll just clean her up and get her on the road. But now it's a vehicle that's worth something. He was going to sell it for like $26,000, all half blown apart and no interior in it. Like, he's got everything, because it was a complete car. He drove it around for quite a long time. But like it needs the body going over, and a few bits and pieces. But it's an original right-hand drive New Zealand new, 327 Paraglide car. It's never like it's not an imported left-hand drive, so at least it's right-hand drive and all that sort of thing in New Zealand, So it's worth a bit more than a left-hand drive here. So it's pretty sought after. So it's worth doing properly. So he's going to strip back, and I'm going to give him a hand, and we'll do any other repairs and straighten the worst of it out, and we'll make it look pretty again. And then I think he's going to get the interior done and stuff. So that's cool. That could be it might end up being here at some point, or we might end up doing a bit of this place. I'm not sure, but we'll see how that goes. Time will tell. So how much of a part on it I have, I don't know, but yeah, he got sort of frustrated with it. But I was coming and said, "No, man, you're halfway there now. Like, it's had a lot of the bad pieces done. Like the dog legs and around the boot, and all the other pillars stuff still being fixed, and there's been a couple of patches done on the roof, and just silly stuff like that. Like, it's sort of the bottoms of the quarters and that are fairly simple. They're pretty flat. Got the English wee hoof, and we need to put a little bit of shape in them, all that sort of stuff. So we'll get it sorted. So hopefully we might see that here at some point, or like I said, we might do it at his place, and just depends. I might bring a door here, or a front fender or guard here, and because one of the, I think it's the left hand one's quite beaten, and over the wheel arch, you'll see it in the other video when you look back, have a look. But so it needs a bit of work. But anyway, I'll get into this, and I'll stop off and I'll get this shit off the road. Righty, so I've had to cleaned up that piece of steel. I just sat inside the car, and so I could get a decent look at those the pipes coming together, and made a rough template. And I'm just blowing up the picture here on the computer screen, and I've actually got it. I've zoomed in enough that it's actually almost 1-to-1. So this is what I came up with, and this is what they had. So if I hold that in there, so that dot is where the pivot point is. So it's pretty close to 1-to-1. Because I basically made this similar size tube, and I actually just held a ruler up there, and that's about the same measurement across. So we're pretty close. That's if that is so. If I make it exactly the same as this, I obviously need to make this skinnier and that longer, which I can do. I might just draw another one that's a similar sort of shape, if you know what I mean. Quickly, or just here. So I'll sort of draw mine and then I'll draw it. So for some reason theirs is tall. I'm not 100% sure why they would have gone up high like that from that pivot point. I can't, you know, like I can't see what exactly is going on there. So like it is hard to, you know, decipher, if you know what I mean. Anybody's guess, like without being there, anybody's guess why that's like that. I don't know. Does it have a stop on it, or? So I'm guessing it's more that kind of shape sort of thing than this. So yeah, I don't know. I suppose I can make it look like that. That's not going to hurt anything. I can't tell whether that's plug welded or it's riveted on. I'll have to ask. So yeah, if it's plug welded on there like that, I'll just plug weld it on. Well, it's not hard to drill a couple of holes in there, you know, or even I can even put one in the middle and burn it in there nice and hot. I can put a decent sized hole in there, so I get a good nice hot weld in there, and that'll be fine. And just obviously got to roll this around a little bit, so it'll go. Zoom this back a little bit, so it'll be sort of sitting around the tube a bit like that, if you know what I mean, type thing. So yeah, that's what I'm about to do next. So I might make it more to the original shape. I'm guessing that's sort of 1-to-1. I'm thinking that's because it's similar to the measurement. Looking at the picture going to the original thing, and this is very similar too. So yeah, I can make it pretty much exact to that. If I leave that picture there, I can actually hold it up there, and as long as I don't move it, I can zoom it in and out. But that will give me a pretty close representation. So yeah, I might just cut this out close, and then I can draw some out on the piece of steel, and I'll place a cut out close, and then obviously we'll grind them down to that. I'll just clamp them all together or something like that, and then I can obviously grind them all the same shape, draw all the holes in the same place so they are the same, and then obviously try and bend them around to suit the same. I'm just not 100% sure why this has got this little funny little extra, you know, like I would have just brought it around here, like I wouldn't have had it way out there, but whether there's a reason for it or not, I don't know. But anyway, we'll see it when we've got a couple cut out and starting to make them look pretty. Righty, so I've got my pieces cut out. I actually had to change the tip on the plasma cutter. I just couldn't get the bloody thing to cut for a start. Which I don't have a lot of use with a plasma cutter. Like this is I use one a little bit when I worked for one of the trucking firms, sort of like I'm talking back 2012. We did a little bit of fab. I used a plasma cutter there a couple of times, if you know what I mean, doing repairs and whatever. But I just thought with the amount of bits and pieces, like I have cut quite a bit of stuff with this for this car and making brackets and bits and pieces, but I thought, would that be sort of normal to, you know, for the amount of stuff that I've cut for this car, changing the tip, would that be sort of normal? I don't know. Like I'm not used to using one either, you know, up until sort of just reusing it, but it was all sort of blown out and it just wouldn't cut. All it did was, you can sort of see here, it was like really melting it until I changed the tip, and then it just cut nice again, you know, like a nice little thin cut, where it was getting like it was just basically just blowing it everywhere. I had to go real slow to even trying to get the cut through. So what's wrong with this thing? So yeah, so I've just had to change the tip on that. I don't know. Yeah, I've made quite a few bits and pieces, but I thought, I don't know how long a tip should last on one of these. Yeah, I don't know. Wouldn't have a clue. I just thought it might have lasted longer than that. You know, I thought it might, you know, got maybe a couple of cars worth of work out of it. You know, I don't know. Sort of type thing. It's a hard thing to know, like, you know, and how many more. Like, I've got one more spare, and I've got a couple other bits and pieces for it. So yeah, obviously we're going to have to get quite a few more consumables for it, just to have them handy, because yeah, like, for the amount of work I've done on that, I wouldn't have thought it would have warranted a tip change by now. But yeah, I'm not using one every day, so well, no, if I'd been using it probably for 10 years, I'd probably go, oh, you know, it's just normal, but I don't know. So, but anyway, got these bits cut out. I've clamped all 4 of them together. So I'm going to grind them all down, and I'm going to basically do one side at a time. When I've got those 2 bits done, I'll turn them around, get them all even, clamp it up again, and do the back side, and then I'll drill the hole and whatever. So I'll just set you up here, and whether it's worth showing you or not, but I've got to have something on the video, apart from me waffling all the time. So you'll be see a bit of high speed me grinding the crap out of this. Righty, so 4 brackets, about the same, or a hole in the same place. So I'll give them individually a clean up, now that they're all about the same shape, within reason of the grinding disc and whatever angle I was holding it on. So I'll give them a tart up and individually, and then I'll see if I can get a bit of shape in them to sort of fit on that tube. And obviously come around the tube and then sit back up straight again. You know what I mean. So yeah, I'll do that, and then hopefully I can even just tack them on or something like that, maybe just on the edges. It's either that or I drill 2 more holes through and plug one of them on. I don't know. I might give another ask another question to Dave and just see whether these are plug welded or riveted or whatever, so then I can make an informed decision, because otherwise we're going to have to try and find some big long rivet sort of type things, or make something, or you know what I mean. So yeah, we'll sort something out anyway, but I'll just tack away out of mine for the meantime, just a couple of 3 tacks, and we can just cut off and nick off or whatever, and clean up later on if we need to. Anyway, yeah, I'll give them a clean up. Righty. So that's sort of what it takes to get it fit from that to that. So you're definitely not flat. It's pretty close. It might take a little bit more tweaking, but at least now I can actually make the rest of them. But that now I've got one close, so I can keep comparing until I get them all about the same. So yeah, it would be nice to have actually a press. That's one thing we were looking at getting, but there's not many actually available at the moment. You know, if you had a press, you could actually probably have it supported and then push a bit of bar or something into it and try and you can get a nice bend in it, and and then you can probably just stick that in the vise and straighten it up, type thing. But yeah, it needs quite a bit of curve in it. I just keep putting the vise and just keep changing the position, keep bending it around until I got something that looked pretty close. This might be a bit thick in here yet, but you know, like, there's not going to be another one beside it, so it'll be good enough, you know, by the time we give it a real good clean up and all that sort of things, when we're really happy with everything. But we'll get them to that point, we'll get them tacked on, and then we can obviously work out the rest of it. And then when we break it all apart and do all the finishing stuff on it, yeah, we can really clean these up and dial them in, and because they'll only be tack welds off, so we can pick the tack welds off or whatever and give them a real good tidy up and tart up, like everything else. But finish them and get them ready for painting. But I just went around with a wee sanding disc on the grinder, just to take the rest of the nasty edges off and make it look a little bit better. But yeah, we'll give them a really good clean up. But yeah, please, I want the rest of them looking like this if I can. Right, awesome. Got this on here. I'm just trying to hold my phone on there with the tripod. So that's just sitting there, but I've got that clamped up. And I've got the nut and bolt sort of done up fairly tight. Looks like it's pretty good. Probably what I'll do when I actually go to weld it on or tack these on, might put it just a washer, just a couple small washers in between, just so it's got like a little bit of space in there or something like that. I'm not 100% sure whether you probably want a little bit of movement in there, you know, not a lot. You don't want it so it rattles the crap out of it, but you just want a little bit so these can come back round. Now, and obviously I'll get a pair of vice grips or something in here and clamp it nice and tight, and then tack and probably tack underneath here, just tack at each end and tack under here just to hold things just so it won't break off until we finalise everything. But yeah, I'll get these other two brackets made. I did revise the addition and chop this off because it was going to head up on here. I don't think it really matters. Like, I'm trying to get it close, you know. But it's very similar to what it is. I'm not quite sure why they were so long on that thing, but I don't think it's going to matter anything. But yeah, I'll see if we can get these other ones the other two straightened up or bent up. You know, lop the top off. I might not get them on because Arco's pretty keen at doing another live stream tonight. Well, this afternoon for me, but yeah, tonight and you guys. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, cool. I'll carry on. Righty, I'm going to call it for today. I've got 3 bent. The last one I kept fighting. I couldn't get the shape right to fit around the tube. I just didn't matter what I did. I'd hit it one way, and it would, like, one piece would come in, and then I was obviously, when I was hitting it and trying to get one piece to bend around, I was sort of straightening another piece, so I keep fighting it. But I've got 3 fairly well right, I think. It'd be a matter of just sitting them on there and testing them and putting the bolts through and clamping them up. But yeah, I'll get the other one made up Monday morning. If I get a chance, maybe later on, I might come down and finish them off, because I'd like to get them on. But I can do it Monday or maybe even tomorrow or something like that. I'll see how I go. But yeah, I want to do a live stream of Arco in about an hour-ish. So I'll head home, have a quick feed, and see if I can do that. But yeah, all right guys, catch you later on. Morning guys, how you going? So, I've just been watching Dan from DD Speed Shop, the post he put up this morning, or the video he put up this morning, putting that floor in that 57 4-door hardtop that he's turned into a 2-door convertible, and all the problems he had, and the car starting to collapse and all that sort of stuff. And I can understand why he did it that way. But I was just thinking, when I pulled this body off the frame, I'm going to have a similar sort of problem to what he had. Because it's got no real structure, it's wood. I'm going to have a similar sort of issue that when we lift this off the chassis to paint the chassis, there's nothing holding this vehicle together except for the wood that's on the where the rockers or the sills would be. Now, what I would have done in his case, because he cut the roof off first because he wanted to see what it looked like, which I understand. I totally understand. I'm a car guy. Like, he didn't want to spend all this time doing something if it looked like crap, which is totally understandable. And obviously this doesn't have a boot or a trunk like their cars do, but what I would have done in this case, after he cut the roof off and you ended up with this sort of scenario, I would have put some bracing on the back seat area against where the package tray is, or parcel shelf as we call it here in this side of the world, down to above where he was going to put it onto the floor if he could, on the section that he was going to leave, and put a piece of box up, a good foot or so above, obviously something reasonable, 2 pieces up here above the back parcel shelf or package tray. Then I want to run 2 pieces down to maybe the back of where the boot or the back clasp where the trunk was, or even onto the tops of the back guards or something like that, down from there. And then I would have run 2 pieces of box up the windscreen posts on that car, and then probably put an X in it, probably front and back, and maybe one and probably a piece from side to side here to tie it all together. And then he probably could, if he'd done it strong enough, and it was strong enough, then he could have probably put a piece down to where those posts were, from here to here, and he could have lifted the car up like he'd done the first one, or the other ones, and put the floor on from underneath. I think the car would have been strong enough then, if he'd put an X in it, put a piece from post to the back of the car, and then obviously run something down to the back, and probably just with the one triangle brace in it, just so the car couldn't flex and twist. That's probably what I would have done, because he had put those bracings down to the toe board of the car. That's okay, but because he had to pull the floor out, and the rockers out and sills out, that made it very, very awkward. He probably could have done that until obviously he had the rockers in, or the sills in, inners and outers obviously. But yeah, I would have done that piece across the top, because that would have given a lot more strength. So I'm going to have to do, I was just thinking about, I'm going to have to make up something to go on this car, so when we lift this body off, it doesn't want to twist and collapse and break wood and stuff like that, because none of this is very deep or very strong. It's like we're only talking sort of this teeth, and it's 42. There's obviously a lot of weight and shit. So I'm going to have to try and make something that go probably across here, across to here, and up to here, so it can't collapse in. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do there yet. I will come up with something, even if it's in steel, and run it back and have obviously like a little piece that comes down in here that we can just put a couple of screws in just to help stiffen the body up, and hopefully it's not too much in the road when we go to do paint and bodywork. That is an issue, and I didn't really think about that. And sometimes it's not something you think about until you actually think, well, shit. Now I'm in a similar sort of boat to what he was in, in another week or couple of weeks, a couple of 3 weeks, when I'm finished screwing around with what I've got to do here, finish this roof, and obviously, a little bit more tarting up around the bottom, because then we're going to have to actually lift this body off this frame so we can strip the frame down, get it sandblasted and cleaned up and painted, and obviously working the body. And I'm probably going to have to take the doors off and all that sort of stuff and get in around here. So if I take the doors off and the doors aren't closed, even though we haven't got locks, that still takes strength out of this body, because it's wood structure and steel. But wood's quite rigid, but it's nowhere near as rigid as steel, and so somehow we've got to tie that together so it can't collapse in on itself. So. Yeah, Dan, if you're watching, that's what I would have done. After you cut the roof off, I would have, up from the back seat brace, I'd have put, at least a foot and a half above. Obviously, with some reasonable, decent, whether it was box or tube, like round tube or square box tube. Yeah, we'll run it up two to the windscreen post with an X in it, probably, and then two bang down to the back of the floor, or the back, back where the trunk area is, or something like that, just to help tie that back in so it can't collapse on itself. Yeah, and then you probably could have put the ones in the floor until you've done the rockers. That's what I would have done. Because at least then you could still get in underneath it, and it wasn't in your way trying to get in and out of the vehicle. And possibly tied something down to the posts from those back two braces as well. And that would have tied it all together again. But yeah, I understand why you did it that way. I totally do. Because you didn't want to cut the roof off this car that's pretty buggered really. And not like it, and then think, well shit, do I just junk it and not spend, the several $1,000s you've done on all those, the floors and all those other panels to make it look like a two-door ragtop. So yeah, I can totally understand why you did that way. But anyway, I haven't got a lot long here today. That wind's a pain in the ass because the fucking wind's up again. It's coming from the north. I'd like to know what frickin' pieces are rattling up there and frickin' do something about it, but I can't. But yeah, anyway, I've only got a few hours here this morning because I've got to do other stuff this afternoon. So yeah, I'll get these brackets finished, try and get these on these posts, or on these, not posts, on these tapered tubes, and hopefully bugger some of this stuff off and possibly get this on here. Probably won't be able to get rid of this until we get these on here and tie this in, but so yeah, but anyway, that's what I want to do today. But yeah, Dan, if you've seen this, that's what I would have done, because I actually watched a little bit of his caught the end of his live stream yesterday, and he said he wished he had actually caught one on Arco's live stream that we're trying to do every week. Possibly at some point we'll do it backwards and forwards on each other's channel, but in the meantime I'm quite happy to keep doing it from their channel. Lights. So yeah, that's what's happening there. Quite enjoying doing these live streams. I'll get a bit more confident in doing them. It takes a little bit. By the time we've done a few, I'll be quite happy with doing it. So yeah, it's cool. But anyway, I'll get into this. And we'll see you back here in a few when I've got one of these other tabs being up, and I'll see if we can get them tacked on anyway. If you're wondering what I was doing there, I was just making a wee spacer, just for assembly basically, just to help me out when I'm playing around with this stuff. Alrighty, I just took it off. I thought it might be easier just to play around with less frigging around. So, Yeah, right, so now it's about as good as it's going to get. It's 445 mils roughly from the centre, eyeballing, but it'll be pretty close to the centre of that. And then the spacing between here and here, if I hold a tape underneath or a ruler underneath, is about 2 inches or 50 mil. So, and everything else seems to be good, seems to look okay. I don't think there's much else, you know. It looks fairly straight, up and down, all those sorts of things. So I think I'll just have to tack it, there and there, and then I'll flip it over and I'll put a couple of tacks in the back. How you going, guys? Hope you can hear me right over this bloody wind rattling this friggin' roof. I thought the roof was going to take off before its wind just died down a little bit, but anyway. I got these brackets cut out and shaped, both the same. Obviously, I've got to do a lot more shaping on them yet because, for one, it's going to bend around this bar. Two, this here is going to be curved this way. That's going to be curved that way, and then this here is going to come in and sit about the centre, and obviously this here will be sitting about here somewhere on the inside of this. I might better tweak it in and pull it in a little bit. I'll have to have another look at the photos, but so it picks up those two bolts really well. I might nut off that nut off. They both stick through here perfectly. That's cool. That's what I wanted. Anyway, so yeah, this is going to come in here and obviously be bent around and shaped and whatever. So I'm going to have to heat the crap out of these and bend them around and screw around with them. It's going to take quite a bit of doing. So I'm going to get to that in a minute. But yeah, far out, that wind's strong. Yeah, cool. Right. That's about all I'd say, except for the roof trying to take off. Thank Christ the wind's died down a little bit, but oh man, it was windy there before. Like the actual, not just whatever that piece is that's running over there. You could actually hear the iron. I actually went outside twice to have a look on both sides to see if there was any iron flapping, but no, there wasn't. But yeah, far out. You might need an extra couple of screws in there just to help it. But anyway, I'll start shaping one of these anyway to see if I can get this fit in here. But yeah, I'm not going to get a lot more done, but I'll try and I'm going to have to heat up with the gas torch to get all the shapes in this, I think. Right, I've decided I'm going to call it here for this video. I haven't done any more, obviously. No, I'm running out of time. It's almost 12 o'clock, so I'll get a little bit more done, but I'll call it here for this video. So everybody, thanks for watching and all those sorts of things. Please like and subscribe, and yeah, just even if it's a comment, just give me a thumbs up or whatever. Yeah, just let me know that you are watching, whatever. It's really cool. Subs are slowly climbing. I think the live streams with Arco and Heidi and that are definitely helping. Hopefully I'll get a bit more confident doing that. I think Saturday's one was a lot better than the Saturday before. I don't think there'll be one this week, maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that. It'll just depend on what, because Arco and Heidi have got their Resurrection car show this weekend coming up. I'm pretty sure it is. So it'll be cool, because Arco's actually just posted a video of him making a whole heap of like antique trophies and bits and pieces, which I haven't finished watching. I watched a little bit for a start off, but it's too bloody noisy in here. I was sort of watching that while I was having a bit of a playing around with the stuff. But yeah, so I'll carry on with this. See you in the next video, and thanks for watching, guys. And again, thanks for all the new subs just recently. Hopefully we can get to that 1,000 soon. And yeah, all those sorts of things. Cool, guys. Cheers.